Good morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today I was thinking that I was going to pull out my Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set, as many stampers have done recently, and make some cards to honor Ukraine and its struggle right now. Good morning, Annette. Hello, Roseanne. Thank you both for joining me. So I have a concept in my head for using this to sort of express my feelings about what's going on in Ukraine. So I'm going to do, I'm hoping to do a series of 3 cards. Bring in some basic white cardstock to stamp on here. There we go. I thought I had a third piece. Yeah, so I'm going to get started, and I've already got my big one mounted up. So I'm just going to start by stamping 3 different sunflower images here. And I decided, often I would stamp in Memento Tuxedo Black to then do whatever coloring technique. But I decided I didn't want such a very, very strong color for these. So I'm going with Gray Granite, and we'll see how that works. So sometimes these are hard to line up with the die because it all kind of looks like the same thing. So when I figured out good places to line it up, I put a spot. I'm trying to see if you can see it there. There's a dark purple spot at one petal there, and I've got, it happens to be a pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend spot on the corresponding petal on my die. And that's just going to help me, hopefully, be able to more quickly line up when I'm ready to cut this out. Yeah. And one thing I can do, again, to help me do that is mark on the paper where that petal is. So I'm going to set that aside for a moment. I'm going to do 2 more. I like that color. It's not brown. It's not black. It's sort of a brownish gray. And I think it'll work pretty well with the colors I'm doing. Yeah, I kind of bobbled that one. Let's try again. Hello, Paula, and hello, Lorraine. Thank you guys for joining me. As I said at the top, I'm doing a series of 3 cards today with the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp. I have one of these petals marked with a permanent marker, and I have the corresponding petal marked on the die to cut it out. So I'm just marking that so that it's faster and easier to line up the die. I don't have to sit there and spin it and spin it and spin it to figure out where it goes. So I stamped 3 of those in Gray Granite, and I'm just gonna clean my stamp really fast. And so my first one I'm going to do in pretty traditional colors, and trying to decide between, I think I'm going to do traditional colors, and I'm going to do them with my Stampin' Blends. I'm going to do 3 cards, and I've got 3 different ways to color. I'm just going to do a quick wash. This is So Saffron Light, and I'm going to work light to dark. That's how I tend to prefer to use these. But I also have my blending brushes, and I have sponge daubers. So we're gonna do one with each technique. And I'm working fairly quickly. I mean, I carefully, but fairly quickly, because well, besides the fact that I don't want to keep you here for too long, it just, especially for this first layer, it just doesn't have to be meticulous. That's what the word I'm looking for. We have had a couple of busy days in our household. We went Friday evening, we flew over to Adelaide. That was a quick and easy flight. My daughter's assistance dog, Booth, was so happy to be back on an airplane, and even more happy, I think, when we landed just over an hour later, that it wasn't a 20-hour flight across the ocean. And we met a couple of young dogs, puppies really, one of which is likely to become Booth's successor. And I think I'm going to jump up. This is Mango Melody Light. I think I'm going to go ahead and jump up to that. And we had a very nice chunk of the day with the people from the Assistance Dog Training Organization and their 2 puppies, and walking around a bunch of Adelaide. And then I got to meet up with another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and her husband. We'd arranged to get together sometime while we were there, and it turned out we were all free for dinner. So Nicole actually stayed at the hotel. She needed some downtime. And just as we were getting ready to walk out and meet Caroline and Rob, my husband lost a filling. So believe it or not, at 5 o'clock on a Saturday, my people in the US are going to freak over this. 5 o'clock on a Saturday evening, on my second phone call, I found a dentist who was about a 10-minute drive away, who was able to get him in for an emergency repair. And it turned out he was part of our private health insurance plan. Amazing. Caroline and Rob very kindly drove us to the dentist and hung out with me while he had his work done. It took under 20 minutes to make the repair, and we were able to keep our dinner booking that they drove us to out at the beach and back again. Oh, it was a great experience. I mean, not that anyone wants to lose their filling, but you know, this happened at like 5 till 5, and by 10 till 6, we were en route to dinner. I was like, wow, that was amazing. Okay, so how am I going to dress this up a little more? Yes, and then we had a whole nother day in Adelaide. We went back out to the beach for a little bit, had a really nice brunch, had Qantas freak us out by telling us our flight was canceled before they said, oops, just kidding. That was some crazy. How am I going to dress this up a little more? Where's my dark hair? We're going to come in. This is the Mango Melody dark now. We're just going to come in and add some bits of that in there. So I'm just layering up these colors that all work together. I'm not doing a whole lot of rhyme and reason. Okay, I think I'm going to come back in with some more. This is back to the very lightest So Saffron, which I did as my first layer. And a lot of times I like to do this. It just kind of blends all of those tones together a little bit. I don't know if you can tell the difference between these two. For one thing, it makes where I just had that light So Saffron, it just sort of helps it blend in with the darker tones a little bit more. Whoops. Yeah, I want to do something. Oh, I think I like that. Okay, so I'm going to set that one aside for a minute. I'm going to bring in another one, and this time I'm going to use, I think, my blending brushes. And I have those same three colors. There's So Saffron, Mango Melody, Pumpkin Pie, because the pumpkin pie, I use a little bit of pumpkin pie there in the center. And I'm going to bring in, sorry about that on the camera, I'm going to bring in a piece of old grid paper, and I'm going to just start by putting down the same concept, starting with a light layer of So Saffron. Just kind of all over And I'm going to add some Mango Melody. I'm just building that up a little bit. Concentrate it a bit more towards the center, I think. See if you can see how that's building up a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go a little deeper now with some pumpkin pie. It's the very center. So, okay, so now I'm seeing your comments here. Roseanne, Adelaide, it was about an hour and 15-minute flight. And that would be here, that would be about, a solid 8 hours or so drive. The freeway system is not as big here, and the speed limits are lower in general, so it takes longer than you think it would to drive. So yeah, I'm liking that one too. So there's Stampin' Blends. There's blending brushes. And this one, I'm actually going to come in, I'm going to add some pink tones to this one. We'll see how that works. Are you nervous? I'm kind of nervous too. This is Petal Pink, and it may be too light to actually really show up so much. But like I said, I'm having an artistic I'm having an artistic moment here. It may just kind of turn it more orange. And Paula, you asked when Nicole would get her new dog. It would be probably 8 to 12 months, probably, because yeah, well, we've told them to yeah, Nicole doesn't 100% get to pick. They get to choose which one seems best suited for the tasks. But Yeah. And we liked all of them, so it's going to be okay whichever way it goes. I know that looks much more messed up. It was beautiful before, and now you're like, why did you do that? And I'll show you in a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it like that at the moment. And I'm going to move on to sponge daubers. So I need to pull out the right daubers. Yeah, so we'll see. And it'll take several more get-togethers before we actually get the doggo. I'm just looking for my colors here. That's So Saffron and Pumpkin Pie. Mango Melody. Calypso Coral. And which other one do I want? Oh, Petal Pink. Where'd that one go? There we go. Okay. Let's see what we got going here. Again, I'm going to start with some So Saffron. What was I thinking of? Yeah, so they know enough about the puppies right now to know that they are going to work well as assistance dogs. And so now they just work on doing the training to actually get them to be assistance dogs, and that just takes time and repetition. So I'm going in with Petal Pink straight into the center of this one. And again, I have this vision in my head about some things I'm trying to do. So we'll see how it comes out. And I'm going to bring in some Calypso Coral. Darken up right in the center there. And now I'm going to add some tones to the petals, I think. Yes, I have a dauber for each color. You know, I refer to myself as being anal retentive, and that's one of the things that I like to be anal retentive about, is a dauber for each color. And a number of years ago, I ordered there's another demonstrator who does a lot of storage. She does a lot of other craft things to help with the stamping stuff, and that's where I got my case from. I'm going to come in with a little bit more So Saffron. Darken that up a little bit. Blend out from the Mango Melody. Yeah, just taking the Petal Pink, using whatever I've got left on there, just darkening, blending that a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that too. Okay, let me get things cleared away a little bit. I just could bring in a little bowl for all the daubers. Those out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna cut out remember I put my little mark up there to hopefully help me get this lined up fairly quickly. There we go. Why do I place my sponge daubers sponge side down in my case? In this case, I do it because then I can stick my finger right in and pull out the one I want. If I had them this way up, they'd be messy. They wouldn't necessarily help me find the colors any faster because I do have them labeled and I have this chart here to help me find them. So I just find that it's easier that way. I don't get my fingers all messy. Okay, so there's one. And I'll keep that for scrap. Come here. And again, I have my mark there. And there's my marked petal. So much faster than having to scooch around. Sorry, you can't really see that off there, can you? Move that a little bit. And there's two. And again, my mark is there. My mark is there. So really the best way to mark the dies is a spot of nail polish. The permanent marker comes off, I have found. But I have to grab I don't have nail polish anymore. So I have to grab one from Nicole to be able to put a dot of nail polish on there. There we go. So I did say that I had a plan. So let's see how that plan's going to work out. So for one of my cards, all of my cards, I've actually cut pieces of, this is the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper, and this is probably what I would call the A side, because it's the theme with the tulips, and this is the B side, which is sort of watercolor backgroundy. But I thought for my most conventional one, that would be nice on there. And I was thinking the sentiment out of this set that says, know that you are loved, would be pretty appropriate on there. Just gonna do that, like that. So let me get this stamped on here. So this is supposed to be Pear Pizzazz, which is the color that I put as the card base. And I could do it, I like the extra layer there. But I want it to show up. So I'm actually gonna pull in my Old Olive, which is a darker shade of the same color tones. Color family, I don't know. I'm just going to stamp that right on there. Because the Pear Pizzazz would show up, but I think the Old Olive shows up better. Okay, bring in my glue. This paper is so pretty, but it's the B side we want for today's card. We'll get it up on here. I'm just pausing for a second because I'm thinking about if I want to do some leaves on there. But see if we can get some going real fast here. Granite. One thing I love about these Stampin' Blends, like I've said, is that because they blend into each other, you don't get those streaks like you do with watercolor markers. And I'm not even gonna do any shading. I'm just now gonna go cut these out. The coordinating dies. come here. Okay. Those look kind of ridiculous, don't they? Should have just done 2 of these big ones. So you may have seen me do this trick before. This is my press and seal, and it's Glad plastic wrap that's got those, it's like Post-it note adhesive on the back. It's temporary type stuff, and I think it's great when I've got stuff laid out exactly how I want it. Just makes it so easy to just pick it up and be able to attach it all into place. And not have to worry about it. And now I can remove all my backings. There we go. I can see it, I can position it exactly where I want it. Hello. There we go. So there's card 1. Leave that there for a moment. Get rid of this mess. Okay, and then for this one, I think we do know that we want some leaves. So we will bring this back in. This time we'll just do a couple of these. This one was with the sponge daubers, so. There's Pear Pizzazz. See, I started right on there, which is what I'm not supposed to do. Start off and then swirl on. Yeah, so then I went and did it again. I'm getting just a little bit of deeper color down the center, maybe, by using kind of the edge of the dauber there. Yep. And we'll cut those out. Because there's only one of the large dies. This is going to take a couple passes, sorry. And a little better lining up would be good too. Okay, let's set that one aside. I'm going to do this one. And again, I use, this is still some of that Tulip Flowering Fields. But then I use this B-side that has, I think, sky and clouds with a bit of petal pink in them, which is why I put some petal pink and Calypso Coral in there to bring in some of the pink tones. This is going to be a similar type of layout here, I think. See there. Trying to figure out so this is Special Moments. This is a celebration set which you can still get here in Australia to the 16th, and I was going to do Hang in There. Figure out which color. This one I may just go with the gray granite. What do you think? Does that show up well enough, or do I need to do it on a piece of basic white? Just stick it on top. Oh, I'm looking in the camera. Look on the screen. It looks like it's good. Okay. Stick that on. I'm just using up edges. Yeah, this one, because it's the big ones, I'm not as worried about using the press and seal. Just gonna slide that one under there. There. There's number 2. And brushes here. Now for number 3. This one is my foray into modern art and statements thereof. So again, this is the Flowering Fields. And this is more dramatic, isn't it? So I'm not sure I have the coloring quite as I want it on this last sunflower, but let's bring it in here and see. I'm gonna put this on. Yeah, it's close. This is the one I did with brushes. I'm gonna add some Poppy Parade. So the Stampin' Up! Brushes, these are the Stampin' Up! Brushes. And before they came out with them, I'd seen a bunch of people using them. So I bought a set of brushes. These were actually sold as makeup brushes, and I've told, if you've been watching me for a while, I've told you that before. And they do cut. This set came with a bunch that are the same, couple of them that are very similar to the Stampin' Up! Ones, but they came with a variety of sizes and shapes too. So I'm going to use this little one because I have it, and add in some a little bit more dramatic Poppy Parade here, I think. See if I can build that up a little bit. Sorry, that's my bracelet clanking against the table there. See how that looks up against here. Yeah, that's getting more like what I wanted. I'm going to try for a little bit more red. Do I still have you guys? If I lost you, I'm going off on. I've been keeping them quite short, and now I'm going longer because I had this whole concept this morning. But there we go. There. I think that pulls in some of that bright red. And I'm actually going to do something slightly different for the leaves on this one. Again, bear with me. Don't think I can get a third one out of this. Oh, maybe. Ha, just enough. That's okay. All right. So, and trying to figure out what I want to say on this one. I think maybe we'll go back to know that you are loved. Put that in here with the Poppy Parade. Does that mean you're taking a break and getting work done, or is it just lucked out that way, Lorraine? So. On there, and then these I cut. There's actually the piece I cut it from actually had self-adhesive sheets on the back of it already, so I can just stick those down. Like so. So that is my tribute to Ukraine today. I hope you enjoyed that. We did Stampin' Blends markers, sponge daubers, and blending brushes to make the same image. And you can see how you can build up the colors in different ways. Oh, you got a tradie coming this afternoon? Ah, well, you know, gotta keep working on things, right? So, thank you for joining me. I will be back again. It will be the same time, same place here in Australia. For those of you in the US who are changing times, you will want to double check the link that I post because I will be probably an hour off one way or the other, and I let the computer figure that out for me. But if you go to nancysniftynotes.com, there will be a link in the blog post with these cards that will link you to the website that will tell you the accurate time for next week. So, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next week. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.